One thing, Gene, and I'm not kissing his ass, Gene is a great bass player. I played with a lot of great musicians. Gene he's solid as a rock. He doesn't speed up, he doesn't slow down. So for a drummer, I can't speak for how Peter or Eric Carr interacted with him, but Gene is very easy to play with because that's it. Gene, I wanted Benjamin Franklin. Now we're talking. Gene, you're amazing. You're the Jaco Pastorius of rock. Anyways, seriously, Gene, and Paul will attest to it. He's been there from day one with them. Gene's very creative and melodic, like listen to Going Blind as a good example. But Gene is so easy to play with, so it's like effortless. So it's an interaction. Sometimes you fight each other. I don't fight when I play with Gene. It's very, very easy.
I have to say, I don't think that Gene ever gets, his due, because Gene loves doing shtick, and all that Gene does as far as his personality and the things he says somehow gets in the way of certain people listening and going, he's a fantastic bass player. I've played with him. You don't come close, buddy.
Gene, get out that stack.
And Gene wants to let everybody know that he's handing all that money out to everybody here as a sign of appreciation.
I dare you to give it all out right now, Gene. I dare you.
Let's go back to this side over here.
At the end, everybody should come up single file, and Gene wants to give you each $100.
Hello guys, my name is Luis, I'm from Mexico City, and I have a question. So, what do you think is the most important element to be maintained for the next 50 years with the Avatar show? And have you considered recording a non-AI album or tracks for it?
Great questions. There may be some music in the works, and that's part of the surprise, is that we like to tell you what we're doing or things that are planned. The problem is so much of what we may bring up never comes to fruition. Music, yeah, that looks pretty damn more than possible, probable.
Okay, hold on. So you're saying it's possible and probable there's gonna be new KISS music?
You didn't hear that from me.
I mean, that's amazing. That's the thing. You never stop writing riffs for Gene, all you guys, Paul, Tommy, Eric. So you must have a lot of stuff in the can, so to speak.
That's true. That's why you can pick up our new box sets, a live box set as well as Dressed to Kill box set. There will be plenty of surprises and some never released songs. This has been a public service announcement.
I'm not going to give you any hints, but I really only write when there's a project, and I've been writing.
Good answer.
Well, I'd have to say that's a scoop. Hey guys, how about over here again?
Hi, I'm Pete from New York, and I had no voice after last night, so apologies. My question is for Gene Simmons from KISS. Gene, back in the day when you guys started out, you had a million amazing ideas that helped grow you into the biggest band in the world, and that's why we love you to this day. There must have been a lot of things that you guys kicked the tires on that never saw the light of day, and wondered if you might remember some of those and maybe anything you even would have done differently.
Well, he thinks all of his ideas are great. Right, Paul?
I have to tell you that the stuff is disposable. KISS condoms, KISS caskets, you know what I'm gonna say. We'll get you coming and we'll get you going.
My line.
But I will tell you, if I have any regrets, my hand to God, it's that I sometimes, and I think we all go through this, sometimes wish we were smarter and better at trying to help Ace and Peter have better lives. And sometimes, all of us are guilty of it, and so am I, of, I don't want to start an argument, and let's just continue doing the tour, because you want to get through it for selfish reasons, because it's working, and the chicks and the money and the blah, 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 and you don't want to ruin anything. Meantime, somebody who might be your brother is ruining their life by bad decisions, and I think this goes to your friends, your lovers, your family members. I wish I would have practiced more tough love and just kind of, been more in the face of people that we cared about, and maybe could have been better. Oh.
Gene, who's your favorite president?
In the past or the present?
On money, I'm talking on currency.
Oh, you mean that? Yes.
Ben Franklin wasn't a president.
Okay, well, diverted from where I want to go.
They used to have $500 and $1,000 bills.
Yes.
No.
Yes, Eric. He's our youngest member, so you'll excuse him. No, he's not. Tommy's younger.
I act younger, but Tommy's younger.
Yeah. By the way, if your cat is stuck in a tree, just call Tommy. He's going to be. Oh. Tough love is a good idea, in my opinion, with your children, with the people you love, with the people you care about, with the people you work with. It's not going to be a popular thing, or you're going to argue about it, but in the long run, you're going to be helping that person hopefully change their life. My mother used to smoke cigarettes every single day, and because I loved my mother more than life itself, I used to put these explosive loads in her cigarette. Yeah, so that because she wouldn't listen to me. In those early days, people heard that it was bad for you, and I used to put loads of, and she whacked me on the butt. I used to go to work with my mother in the sweat factories. She made about $38 to $100 a week, depending, no minimum wage, in a sweat factory in the summer. I used to go and help her, and I remember one Friday when she went to Mr. Summit, the owner of the place. "Hello, Florence, do you have a cigarette?" And she goes, "Yes," and I'm going, "Oh dear Lord, I hope she doesn't pick the wrong one." And she gave him a cigarette, I swear this is true, and he lit up, and I'm sweating, and everything's fine. Then we go to the elevator to go down, and then you hear, oh! And I see my mom gave me the stink eye, and I went, oh. But my mother quit smoking, and that's what it's about.
Hello guys, I am Eduardo from Mexico City. And actually this is a question for Mr. Paul Stanley. So Paul, something that I always admire about you is how you carried the band through some incredibly tough years. So looking back now, what's the one decision, and it can be musically or personally, that you feel truly changed the destiny of KISS?
I think the key, at least my view of success with the band, was pragmatism. You have to prioritize what's important to you. And if some people aren't doing their job or holding up their weight, or people are AWOL, not around, that's true, but what matters to you? And what mattered to me was KISS. And if somebody wasn't bailing water and the ship was sinking and it took on a lot of water at different times, I just worked that much harder because I loved the band. And the most important thing to me was to see the band's survival. And it's been like that since the beginning with, you know, different times. Look, when Gene and I met, it's a famous story, but I didn't particularly like him. But it's a whole lot easier to succeed when you've got somebody by your side, even if they don't want to be there. So I worked with Gene and we got together because we had the same dream. And we also understood that success doesn't come overnight and it's not always easy to get there. So it's a matter of having a clear vision of what you want and what it takes to get there and what's important to you. So that's really what I guess I brought to the band consistently, is the idea that I don't want the band to die.
Was there ever a time when you guys considered stopping the band?
Never. Absolutely never. When we did a tour where literally we wouldn't have this many people in an arena, and it was miserable. It was miserable to go out on stage. And at that times, really it came down to, do we go out there and take our frustration out on the people who were there, who paid, or work that much harder so that those people would go home and tell other people what they missed? There were reporters, I remember doing an interview, and a journalist said to me, they can be pretty unkind and they can forget that you are actually people. And he said to me, so how does it feel to be on the Titanic? And I remember thinking, nobody's going to decide when this is over. And that's enough of reason for it to continue, is to show those pricks that we decide how long this is going to go on. And last night, look, there are people who, after last night's show, not here, but there's people going, oh, they said they weren't coming back, and why are they doing this? Those are the people who never wanted us around in the first place. So we're not here for them, we're here for you.
Hi, my name is Bar from Haifa, Israel. And
מה השם שלך?
Bar
איפה נולדת?
in Carmel, I think.
גם כן אני.
I know.
גרתי בדירת הכרמל.
כן, אני גרתי במרכז הכרמל, אני חושב, איזה שנתיים, ואז עברנו שוב ליד.
He said there are a lot of hot chicks here tonight.
I wanted to ask, what gave you the inspiration for the makeup and the characters of Star Child and the Demon?
I have to tell you that if we tried to verbalize it, I don't think we could, because it doesn't come close to the truth. One day, like a fable, one day you couldn't find more unqualified, no resume, no experience, knuckleheads from the streets of New York who were in a rat-infested loft that had no windows and huge cockroaches with mustaches. They were badass. What you looking at? You know, they were bad. It was a bad place. Just one door in, one door out. And we were just blindly dedicated to this idea. You've heard it before. Let's put together the band we never saw on stage. You know, write the songs that we loved, kind of Anglophiles. And every day was like pulling teeth, but something was happening. The songs that we started to write in the beginning are the songs we continue to play today. So we got that right. And then we thought about, how do we stand out? Are songs enough? Because people are going to be looking at us also. And I swear to you, not one of us, not Paul, not myself, Ace or Peter, can lay claim to the idea that, oh, I said, let's all wear makeup, everybody be different personas, and I'll be the cat man and you be this and you be that. No, we just kind of, I don't know who said it, let's go down to something like Woolworth's, a store, and I don't know how we wound up buying clown makeup. Paul bought red lipstick, thank you.
What's that?
Nothing.
Sorry.
And we brought makeup on, and we bought mirrors, cheap mirrors, that when you leaned them against the wall, they would warp a little bit. And each one of us somehow came up with our own, makeup that pretty much has stood the test of time. There is sometimes things just happen, and I don't know if it's fate or God or we just happened to fall into it. We didn't have a manager. Nobody was a marketing expert. Nobody used the word marketing. The magic of KISS is it just happened.
Gene, Paul, did you have mirrors set up in your rehearsal room so you could watch how you perform to work on your stage moves and presence?
When we got a little bit further along, we met Bill O'Coin, who really was like the fifth member of the band. We never would have lasted, we never would have had the success that we built on without Bill. So Bill was really an instrumental part with the original four members, and his boyfriend was a guy named Sean Delaney. And Sean, in his own right, was visionary. And we went to a rehearsal basement, and Bill set up a camera, a video camera. And back then, it wasn't like everybody with their iPhones. That was a serious piece of equipment. And Sean sat there, and we would watch back the videos, like football players, like sports after a game. You watch to see what worked and what didn't. And that's the interesting part of it, because I remember thinking, oh, I'm really moving, and I wasn't doing anything. This doesn't do anything. This does. So you learn that the space around you is prime real estate, and you have to take advantage of it all. And it was during our rehearsals that after one of the songs, Sean said, you have to do that move again. And we went, what move? And he goes, this one. And we were like, well, that's corny. It's like, we don't choreograph what we do. And sure enough, he was right. And we wound up, the three of us in the front, doing that. And, it must have not only lasted and stood the test of time, but I can't tell you, well, how many other bands are out there doing some sort of form of that. So that was Sean Delaney. We can't take, as Gene was saying, we can't take the credit for everything. We've always surrounded ourselves, luckily, with people who enhanced what we were doing. You're only as good as your team. Nobody's going to win a game on their own. And with all respect, we wouldn't be here today if not for Peter and Ace and Gene and myself starting this. And we also wouldn't be here today without Tommy and Eric. So, and somebody is going to write, what an asshole Paul is. He didn't give the other, the original guys their due. We wouldn't be here if not for those guys. And everything we've built, this monument that's KISS, this monolith, is built on their shoulders and ours.
Let me ask a question. After Ace passed, I went down the rabbit hole and watched some of the videos. Let's talk a little about the Tom Snyder show. One of the funniest things, I don't know if you guys found it as funny. You still don't?
No, we didn't find it very funny. It was scary, we're out there, but I thought you were going to talk about the Midnight Special. Some of those early performances we did, I look at them now and I just go, man, we were on fire. Peter was playing like a man possessed, and Ace was, you know, the epitome of a rock star. But when we did Tom Snyder, we were, you know, promoting that personas, you know, and that iconic group of guys. And Ace shows up late, and he shows up a little beyond buzzed. And you can see, Gene and I, it's like terror. It's like terror in our eyes. And Ace is there making jokes about he's the bass player, you know, and Peter is enjoying every minute of watching us squirm. So that was a perfect portrait of the dynamics of the band.
Right.
It was Ace being crazy, and Peter loving how uncomfortable we were, and you know that combustiveness is what made KISS in the beginning what it was four very, very different personalities that were together, and it was all for one and one for all. Even though, you know, we were careening all the time, we were going to take over the world. We were on a crusade.
תודה רבה. You told me to fuck off.
So I just said that Gene, he said, go fuck yourself.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Julie from Indianapolis, Indiana. I am Indy. Hi, my teammate.
I came up with that. Go ahead.
No, Gene was Indy. All right, Gene? Maria did that to your hat that time?
I'll move on.
No, please, move ahead. We're idiots. Go ahead.
So my teammates and I just came in second place in the trivia contest, and we need some clarification. When did you start using the drum riser in concert? The answer given was the Destroyer Tour.
No.
Wrong.
Thank you, that wasn't our answer. We answered much earlier than that because we remember you talking about it in the Tom Snyder interview.
Absolutely. We, as a club band, had a drum riser, and Neil Bogart, who was the president of Casablanca Records, had this idea that the drums should go up in the air. It's a great idea, but we neither had the money or the technical ability to pull that off the way it could have been. So literally, we had a forklift behind and under the drums, and we didn't even have it motorized. There'd be guys back there pulling on chains, and the drums are going up, and sometimes they would tilt. So that was the original drum riser, and that was pretty much from the inception of our deal with Casablanca. So you're right if you're saying much earlier, much earlier.
Paul, I want to say, I didn't get to go because I wasn't 18 years old yet. They played the Cleveland Agora. They opened for Rory Gallagher, their first tour. And my friend, his dad, Hank LeConte, owned the club. And he took pictures and he said the drums went up in the air and then they blew off all the fireworks and the fire alarms went off and they had to empty the place out. So they were doing that, opening up for bands in the very beginning, right?
Always,
Yeah.
always. Didn't matter who we were playing with. Most bands, we were in a great position because nobody had seen a band doing anything, even on a small scale, of what we were doing. So we got away with murder. We were pipsqueaks. We were an opening act, setting bombs off on stage. And back then, you didn't have what are now called pyrotechnicians. We had arsonists. We had some guy that liked to blow shit up, and one night it would be like that, and the next night it would put a hole in the stage. So from the very beginnings of the band, we got away with whatever we wanted to do. There were headline bands who played with a KISS sign behind them. So people didn't know any different. So we took control.
Gene, please tell them the story when you guys opened for Black Sabbath and Geezer Butler, they had the British flag.
This was very early on. It was in Boston, and we were the opening act, not for long. And Geezer and the guys are waiting to get up on stage. And Ozzy, by the way, years later told me about that. And I also read in interviews where he said so. I walked up in back of Geezer just to kind of check out the stage after we got off, you know, all bloodied and looking like I just crawled out of somebody's ass, which is an interesting image. So with the heels and everything and the all messy, and I must have smelled like, well, not good. So Geezer's a little guy.
Like you usually do.
Thank you. Thank you. So with the heels on, I'm 6'2", you know, add another 7 inches, that's 7 inches, right? So I towered above him, and he turned around, didn't expect me to be there, and he went, so apparently he went backstage and told Ozzy, you know, he's blowing, you know, I've got, what the fuck are we doing here? They're blowing up stuff, and Ozzy, in print, said something like, that's when he knew that this band was going to be big, that he instills fear in the headliner. He said, okay, this is a band that he got it. And the rest is history.
Gene, you said they had a British flag, and you asked him, why do you have that British flag on stage? You're in America.
Oh yeah, I'm an asshole. You got the British flag out there. The fuck is this? America, you're in America, bitch, take that flag off. Anyway, that's another story.
Has there ever been a time, I'm sure there's been a few, when you were flying across for Love Gun, or Gene, when you were going up to the rafters, where it didn't work the way it was supposed to?
Yes, I was at the show. 2000 Anaheim, Paul goes out, he makes it to about right there. So the people are grabbing his boots, he gets stuck. Then Gene came down, he got stuck with his feet about, the bottoms of his feet were about here, and the guys are trying to get him down. Both guys got stuck same show.
At one point, I think we were in Australia, and Gene had a different flying rig, and it would take him, instead of out, it would take him across the stage.
Rome, outdoors,
And so Gene does his bit before God of Thunder, and then he goes up in the air, and like a clothesline, they take him across the stage and smash him into the wall. And if that's not bad enough, they back up again and smash him into it again. And he comes down onto the stage and he goes, I'm hurt.
The rig wasn't working. To make matters worse, when they lowered me down, something about the gears, I was coming down upside down. So it wasn't a good day.
Oh, it hurts.
Paul, my favorite story, when you said you had an old monitor guy in Max or something, and Gene choked him out?
We had at the time, a 52-year-old man who at the time we thought was an old guy, Schmel. You remember Schmel?
Yep.
And he had, white people have no rhythm, I've heard, so, you know, boom. And of course, that's what it's supposed to be. Boom. And I keep yelling at him, he's right over there. He couldn't get it. And in the early days, we were just working off of testosterone, you know, just like passion. You want to get it right. And this poor 52-year-old man, you know, between listening to Lawrence Welk records and some, had no idea about time. And it is true, I did go over and started choking this 52-year-old man like a boom, boom. He didn't know what I was talking. Of course, in those days, people didn't sue each other.
I swear, back then, when Gene would I mean, you see it in performance videos. Gene would just be lost. He really became that person or persona. And I can remember at one point he was doing something and I wanted to tell him to stop. And I look over and he's chewing on the monitor, on the speakers. And I thought, forget it, you know?
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Bill Ellens from Muncie, Indiana. The question's for any of you. Aside from the flying rig incidents, were there ever a time that you looked back
Louder, please.
from the hazards of the stage? Were there ever times that you looked back and thought, hey, this probably isn't going to turn out well, to the point where you were kind of scared for your life?
You know, about 2 years ago on the last tour, we were in Australia, and for the AFL, the big football league final. You guys remember Melbourne? And we went on and did that pre-game show before it started. And these flames, the flame projectors, they had many of them, and it was the hottest thing we've ever experienced. Right?
It was so, that's probably the only time I can remember being terrified. They were using these, I don't know, some sort of gas. It was like a furnace. It was literally, and this is being broadcast and telecast all over Australia, New Zealand, and I was about to start running because my skin, the hair on my arms was burning.
Yeah, we thought we were gonna melt. And there was completely surrounded us. It had, I don't know what the temperature was, but it was overwhelming. It was scary. But that was the one that stuck out to me.
I have to tell you, looking back on it now, there was no master plan about who we were, what we were. We created our own personas. And so when Bill Aucoin, our manager, in the beginning brought in, you know, a bald guy who was going to spit fire, he singed the ceiling in the office, we're just sitting there going, oh, that's interesting. And the manager knew that one of us was going to be spitting fire every show until the end of time. And the story gets mixed up about which one, you know, I must have heard it wrong or something, but somehow my hand went up and, okay, Simmons, you're the one that's going to be spitting fire. I had no idea that on the very first show, by the third number, Firehouse, of course, in those days, you take, you know, like the girls will tell you, take the tip of your hair at the root and, you know, spray it a lot so that it would like stand up and you'd have really big hair. And on the can, I forgot to read, on the very first show, New Year's Eve, 73, 74, on the can of hairspray, it says, Gene, you fucking ignoramus, don't spray that, you're gonna go up like, you know, boop. Sure enough, I caught fire on the first show, not the only time, and they put me out and everything, and the audience went nuts, fucking great. And also other things happened, which I don't want to tell you about a fan who got hit in the face. That's another story. And then later on, there was a gag, a thing that I think was originally intended for Paul. So here's what's gonna happen. This piano wire on stage with no net, and you're gonna fly up to the top of the light truss, however, thing at 9 feet per second, or 6 to 9 feet per second, and you're gonna go up there and sing a song up there with no net. And I remember hearing, fuck that, something like that. And, all right, Simmons, you're gonna be the, and I have to tell you, every show, with no exaggeration, I had to train myself to look straight ahead from up there, like higher than this, quite a bit higher than this. You're singing down, and inside I'm going, so you got to look straight ahead, because if you look down underneath you, that's not a good idea. You get this kind of thing. And every day, and sometimes, here's the platform, and I'm on stage here, and it's a tricky thing to fly me up and then forward, so I land on the top of the riser. Well, sometimes they'd take me forward and I'd come up and bang my head under the platform, and then they'd drag me. So it was never easy and no net. So it's all about me.
You were talking, last two questions for you guys as we start to wind down. You were talking about Black Sabbath and KISS opening for them, and how Black Sabbath knew that, we're in trouble. Was there ever any opening band that you had, not where you felt you're in trouble, but knew that, oh my God, these guys are great?
I think historically, one thing we're proud of is to a band and to any opening act, they'll tell you that we gave them everything. Very often, the opening bands get less lights, they turn the sound down, and all that's done because the headliner is scared. The whole idea for us has always been, we want the opening bands to go out there and be as great as they can, and then we'll go out and show you why we're the headliner. And if that doesn't happen, then we don't deserve to be the headliner. So we've always had great opening acts, whether it was Priest, Iron Maiden, Bon Jovi, Motley Crue, AC Nugent, Rush, AC/DC, Tom Petty, AC/DC. The list goes on. And for us, it's always been, go out there and kill them. You know, this is your chance. You decide. It's like gladiators. It's either this or this. And some of those bands all rose to the occasion, and some got the thumbs down, but we've always been about championing opening acts because we were once there and we weren't treated well.
Is that, when you opened with Black and Blue for KISS, is that what you remember, Tommy?
It was great. No, KISS does treat the opening acts really well. They give them stage room, lights, video these days. So yeah, it was a great experience, and that's when I met these guys. The rest is history, really. That was 40-some years ago.
So last night you guys played a great show. You mentioned future plans, a possibility, maybe future music. Will you do more shows? Because you guys look great. It was so much fun to watch.
It depends on if Gene can fit us into his schedule with his Gene Simmons band.
Can you envision that, Paul? What do you think?
We haven't talked about it. We're really proud of what we did last night. We were no different than we expected. We know what we're capable of, and it was great. What we'll do at this point, I have no idea. When we talk about a KISS Cruise next year, the holdup with KISS Cruises is that when we started doing them, nobody was doing that, as you well know. And then what happened is so many other bands started doing the same thing, doing cruises, that now it's virtually impossible to get a ship less than a year in advance. So I guess we were doing something right, but it also makes it more difficult. This was, I don't want to say it was an alternative, because I think, I don't know about you, but I think this has turned out great.
Last question. Gene, go ahead.
I heard you mention my name. I shut up.
Last question for you guys. What's been your favorite thing about this whole weekend? Because it has been such a great experience, so much fun. Like the cruise, but it's different because we're not on the boat. Is there some things that stood out for you guys about not playing for 2 years and then being around all your fans? Again, it's such a great platform here.
I'll take this one to start with, but I think all of us should have a say. The favorite thing for us is, who would have imagined 50 years ago that we'd come this far? Who would have imagined, me, that I'd finally get married, the bastard that I am? Who would have imagined that we'd have such amazing kids who are now grown people who are multi-talented. Who would have imagined that Paul's son and my son are getting together for an amazing, go on YouTube and ShmooTube and, you know, press the buttons and you'll see them. Just unbelievable. But my favorite thing, besides your beautiful faces at the shows, is our kids were there. They see, hey, Dad, you know, that thing, because that's what we do stuff for, right? Before they drag us kicking and screaming underground, you want your kids to be, that's my dad. That's my favorite thing.
My favorite thing is just the camaraderie of all you guys being here, so enthusiastic, and this is so important to you to be here and be part of this. Every time we do this, it's like a reunion, you know, it's communal, and I think that part of it is amazing. And I know we're all gonna see each other again. Maybe here, maybe it'll be a different setting, but it's gonna be, I know we're gonna do more. And I just appreciate everything that you guys bring to this, and the fact that you love the band and you're so enthusiastic about it. So thank you guys. And I know we'll all see each other again.
What do you think, Eric? Favorite thing of the week?
Favorite thing this weekend? Just everything combined for me. It's to me just sometimes you forget how much you enjoy playing music. You know, even though it could be in tough environments, but it reminds you of why you wanted to do it in the first place. Because at the end of the day, it always comes down to playing and the music. That's it.
Take it home, Mr. Stanley.
I never ever could have imagined this going as long as it has. And along with you, our children, like Gene was saying, are a part of this. And as opposed to going, hey, you know, I was once in a band and, you know, we had this rabid following, for them to see this and for also them to be together. I was thinking this morning, Evan and Sophie and Nick are like brothers and sisters. I mean, it's so weird to think that we've given birth to like wonderful people who love each other, have found their passions, and we get to share our success with them through looking at you. And we're as proud of you as we are of them, and we're all in this together. It's you know, it's KISS World. It's awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, you wanted the best, you got the best. KISS!